stream the meeting. We'll see what happens. Ah!
All right.
Got it.
Got it.
Setting up the meeting for YouTube. When you cough into your microphone, it's a really interesting sound. Stream the meeting. We'll see what happens. Ah!
All right.
Got
Got
it.
it. I am so sorry. Got it.
Ooh.
You can put people in timeout.
Setting up the meeting for YouTube. When you cough into your microphone, it's a really interesting sound. Stream the meeting. We'll see what happens. Ah!
All right.
Okay, that's really weird.
I am so sorry. I can hear that.
I'm gonna have to turn that down. You can turn the volume down on your, if it's, okay.
Okay.
We're apparently live, and no one's here, thank goodness. So we're at a time on YouTube where it's not a very popular time. So this is a good time to be testing.
It's like the night shift.
It's like the night shift. So yeah, so I was going to surprise us with some of my fake news reports, and we can take it from there. So hold on, let me make sure we're doing. Where's my? There we go.
See what you got for me.
I know, right? So we're gonna load that up. Should we begin with that one, Steve, or that one? I guess we'll do this one first because it goes. Okay.
Always start with the Pope.
I always start with the Pope. All right, so I'm gonna screen share. Why don't you tell them what this is?
All right. So.
No. You saw what this is. The show. Sorry, the show. The what we're doing. Yeah, I'm hitting my. All right. That's it.
I thought we had the intro for this. No. Okay.
No, we don't.
All right. Well, it is Fake News Now, where we just go through and dissect some of our favorite fake news memes. Also, some of them that seem fake at first that actually turn out to be true.
Might be fake. Yeah.
So.
Hold on.
It's kind of a play along and find out sort of situation.
Hold on, and I'm trying to find customizing. There we go. All right, so this is that little fucker right here. Start, join meeting, tap view, speaker view. Okay, we're going to be on speaker view. How do we do that view? Is that up here? View? Where's my view?
Isn't that weird, huh?
That's weird. All right, well, maybe.
What is this insanity? I'm not even Catholic and I'm offended for them.
Oh, good. Let's just go back there. That's fun. All right. Are you saying the Pope? Are you have a problem with our Pope here?
Number one, I do remember what he had said. He had said that you can eat, like, I think they had said that you can eat anything that's like from the water. Like, it didn't necessarily have to be fish, because I think one of the things I heard was capybara, which is crazy, but
yeah, like
people
muskrat.
that eat capybara, that's weird.
Yes.
But that's their thing. That's okay.
Right.
Like, the Pope is not going to tell you don't see your kids, or though. I'm just saying, like, that might not be the worst thing in the world for me. Like, I can handle not seeing my parents or Gady's parents. I can handle not seeing John for a day.
Well, that's what he says. So he doesn't want people to do that. So, but I was just kind of thinking that actually he kind of had a nice message, right? Said, although you bring up a good point because of that whole. You're allowed to eat animals from the water. It's disgusting, and it's a new twist on Lent because we were all eating fish, but now you can eat, like you pointed out, capybara, those otter things, but they're not otters, like water rats.
They're rodents.
Yeah, and
Big
I
rodents.
guess you can eat water snakes and frogs and things if you want to. But this message is about the Pope saying that it doesn't matter really if you follow Lent or not, but it matters more what's in your heart, which I thought was a special message, although he never said that, right? So that was why it was listed at the USA Today, listed it as fake news. But I thought it was going to bring us up to what I thought was one of my favorite fake news items. Hold on, let me get to it. There we go. It's I won't be able to. Is it? Do you see that?
I don't. I think there's. Yep, there you go. What is that?
It's the holy hammer.
The holy hammer.
Because when the Pope dies, they have some special guy go in, and he whacks the Pope on the head 3 times, calling him by his Christian name to make sure he's dead.
It sounds like the beginning of a penis joke.
It really does. It truly.
You want my holy hammer? Give you the holy hammer.
Someone in the comments said Dead Pope Hammer sounds like a dope black metal band name.
Now, I'm sure
Or Monty Python bit, you know, from the bring out the dead, your dead bit.
Yes. Or, 3
Pope,
shall be the number, and the number shall be 3. And then
or the dead parrot, the dead Pope's sketch.
the Dead Pope sketch. Oh no.
He's
He shuffled off his mortal
pining
coil.
for the Vatican City.
He's pining for the Vatican. He isn't pining. He's passed on. Yeah. But the fun about this is that it's kind of fake news because the Pope people are really secretive. But they say that while there is technically a cardinal that does go in technically with his hammer, that nowadays he just uses the holy hammer to smash the Pope's seal and his ring, because that's how you destroy the Pope on this planet, apparently. And then,
That's a bizarre tradition.
I know,
though.
right? And but before they had, like, you know, heart monitors, so they think up till like the 60s they were probably whacking popes in the head for real.
Make sure he's dead. We don't need any Pope zombies.
It's beautiful.
Speaking of Pope zombies, or zombies in general, is anybody else excited for the new little mini series of The Walking Dead that starts tonight?
Haven't even heard about it. What is it?
I think it's called Those That Love is the series. It's Rick and Michonne like trying to find each other, I think. I'm really excited. I love The Walking Dead.
That was on my list. I haven't, don't hate me, but like I don't have time to watch, so I haven't watched it, but that is on my list of, you know,
I make myself time.
Everyone loved it. I remember when it was on, everyone loved it. I wasn't into Lost, and I know that no matter how sick on a hospital bed I might be, I don't think I would binge watch that. But this, I would binge watch Walking Dead in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched Lost. Ever. Not one episode.
No. I haven't watched one episode of Game of Thrones.
Of what?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I only watched like a season or two, but it was good. That went
Yeah.
I watched.
My mom actually watched it. She's 84 years old.
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Nice.
I still haven't seen it either.
Nope.
What do you got?
I got... Oh, this is kind of fun. We can do this one. Okay. Ready?
We have dead air. We should not have dead air.
It's a podcast. It doesn't matter. All this stuff's going to be chopped up anyway. Again, we're just messing around. This is just seeing how these things work. All right.
Ooh, an Instagram
I
one.
know. We have to get the loud on. Why is this not?
The video's playing better anyway.
Yeah,
It's
there we
not
go.
as clunky as that.
I'm not actually seeing anything. It's not playing on my end.
You hearing it?
I'm hearing it. Okay, there it goes.
Did you hear the fuck you?
I thought I did. I thought I heard something like that.
Yeah, and that's because it was here's the real version of it. So guy said, loser, you're a loser. This is
Apparently not. It's Allentown, though. Like, come on.
It's
Give a
Emmaus.
shit
Even
about
worse.
Allentown.
I know, right?
Doesn't give a shit about Allentown.
No. No.
The weird bald dude is that kid that was with him looked like a fucking Nazi.
Yep. And those are actual protesters. Those are the people who are screaming at him were also, Palestinian people.
You got a fucking Nazi calling for Jewish genocide, so.
Right? Yeah, so the point,
Also,
I guess.
that bald kid also looks a little bit like Pete Davidson. Now that I'm looking at him, go back. Go back. He looks a little like Pete Davidson.
Which one? Oh, yeah, he does. That guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's got the... maybe he just looks stoned.
He's very stoned.
To be fair, though, it is hard to pull off bald. You got to have the right head, and he does not have the right head for that.
Aw. Well, he's trying.
He's trying, but you know what? He should embrace his hair.
Or cat.
He's young enough that he has hair. Let baldness be for the oldies like me.
Let it come organically. Let baldness come to you.
When it goes back far enough and you have to do it, then embrace it.
Right.
While you're young, embrace your youth.
It reminds me of that Seinfeld where the guy had shaved his hair for swimming, and then Elaine talks him into growing it back, and he realizes he's actually bald now.
Yeah, and then George gets called in to counsel him.
Yeah. 2, 3, maybe 4 years tops. That was good. So anyway, the whole point of that is that they're altering things pretty easily. Anyone gets yelled at, they can get
But that's the scary thing about modern times. It is so easy to edit anything and everything, and unless you know what you're looking for, like, or you've seen the unedited footage,
right?
Like, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
It is, and I'm comforted to know that while there has been Biden video of him being like totally heckled at the Army-Navy game, giving a speech at his granddaughter's graduation. All of those were like altered videos, but then we have like real videos.
Believe me, if the New York Post, if that was real and the New York Post had that video, they would have played it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. Like,
the New York Post isn't a bastion of liberal progressivism.
Thank you. So the really nice thing is
those are real booze.
I want to thank Chase and I want to thank
Did you see the lady that came up and spoke?
Oh, yeah. She was crying, the one who was crying and couldn't...
that weird lady.
Yeah.
That lady was so weird.
I wonder if she was a plant. I mean, who just runs up and starts crying at SneakerCon?
Weird people.
Like, it seemed like a shock to people at SneakerCon that he would show up.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been, because, like, why? Like,
right.
Unless you're obviously pulling a grift, which...
Oh, yeah.
Kind of his thing.
Trump University.
And he has paid people with the that union meeting that he had.
Oh yeah.
Those were all paid.
Yeah, with the
Well, the least he could have done was like pay to like good actor.
Who's gonna do it though? They don't
That's
want
true.
that on their resume.
Nobody wants that on their resume.
Yeah, no. I was extra number 1 kissing Trump's ass. All right.
There's some very weird Trumpy actors out there.
Sure, like Scott Baio.
Well, he's not good.
No, there aren't really good ones. Let's see, Clint Eastwood, but he's like talking about Adel. Like he's not.
Is he a Trumpy?
He was, yeah. Yeah. He did that whole video of talking to a chair with like Boris Obama. And I think he's still Trumpy.
Yeah.
I guess it figures.
Yeah. And there's another
It's a shame, because I kind of liked him.
Yeah. course. He was a very
He's still good,
Oh
but
yeah, he's done great movies. I mean, you
Extremely
can't take that
talented.
away from him.
No.
But yeah, I mean, not everyone is a good filmmaker and a good person, I guess.
it was true. And that's, I think, one of the things, we all have to remember, going through, like, not everybody is perfect that we've idolized.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that, shouldn't cross, you should, lines you shouldn't cross, but, like, not everybody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And, people are going to F up.
Yeah.
So, give some people some sort of grace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my two lines are killing Jews and supporting Trump, supporting fascists. Those are my two big lines.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me see. We got abortion. We got Biden heckling. We already did that.
What's the abortion one?
Okay, cool. It's a. Let me take that up. Copy hyperlink. Here we are.
Fake news is there about abortion.
Right. So, and this is kind of interesting because it was even a twist was even within the Guardian. We can show you that one. There's a man who got 6 months or 880 days in jail because he drugged his wife's drink to induce an abortion. And a lot of people, women are pointing out that if she had actually tried to take it herself, she would have been charged with murder in a state that values, fetuses as a human life. And while it's an interesting take on that, apparently the law in Texas does not actually apply to the women. It actually specifically prohibits women being charged, the women who are seeking the abortion being charged.
It applies to doctors, though.
It applies to doctors and anyone who helps.
So he screwed himself either way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If she wanted it, she should have just did it herself and she'd have been fine.
Yeah, I guess. But she didn't want it. I think he was actually trying to do that. So.
Well, he looks like a piece of crap, anyways.
He truly does, so I don't know. Like, what's the goal of sharing that kind of news?
Yeah. Well, I think people want to make the abortion issue scarier than it already is, which is terrifying and like unnecessary. But it when you do that, it deludes like people's actual arguments against it and like actual valid concerns, and it gives the right the opportunity to say, hey, you're just being hysterical, when the reality is that you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets to prove like, oh, look, the left is exaggerating these things. They're not really that bad. And this is just
and so it serves the right wing's agenda of diluting an issue where they're clearly losing, and they're likely to lose on.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. How have you been following the Nikki Haley IVF gift bullshit lately?
No, I have somewhat followed the IVF thing. I didn't know Nikki Haley had said anything about it.
Yeah. Well, she actually came out and said that to her personally, every fertilized embryo is a life and like a baby to her. And then she went on to say, although she used IVF gift to have her son. And so if you know anything about IVF gift, is that they fertilize like a shit ton of embryos and then they like stuff them into you and they see who takes, and most of them don't take.
Yeah.
So, and that was back in the day before they were able to select, because they even selectively pull some out because they they used to have women that would give birth to like litters, right? They would have like 5 babies at a time. Remember? Like
Jesus.
And they've stopped doing that. And what happened? It's because their better technology is better at making sure that if accidentally a gazillion babies a gazillion embryos implant, you don't have to carry those all to fruition, because it's actually harmful if you want a baby to live, you don't want it to be competing with 11 other zygotes.
Well, yeah, and
Right?
even if it was a viable thing, could you imagine that, like having to care for 11 infants or 5 infants?
I know. Remember
Like,
Octomom?
yeah, I do, and I thought she was batshit crazy.
And she was. If she didn't have it going in, she was obviously crazy going out. Because I can't even imagine.
I'm a parent. Like, one
right,
is a lot of work.
right. Especially if you paid like $250,000 to have you. That was all of your money to go and try to have this baby. And then how would you handle how would your finances handle 8 babies, 5 babies?
Unless you're a freaking millionaire, like you'd be in the poorhouse.
Exactly. So it's horrible to imagine that here's Nikki Haley towing the Republican line and not even standing up like, hey, I had IVF gift, I threw out some embryos, you got to do that. Embryos are not babies. You can't put a baby in a freezer. You can put an embryo in a freezer. That's how we know they're not the same thing. Let's all move on. Right?
Put the baby in the freezer.
Babies don't survive.
They do not survive.
320.
I've tried. Well, if they let me, I'd try.
Experiments at home.
Isn't that how the Greeks used to determine like whether you deserve to live?
They put you out in the cold and
put you out on like a mountain, and like if you survived, you were meant to live or something.
That's terrible. Maybe was it the gods? I would hope it's the gods, not a person.
Sounds like something Spartans would do. Like
I think it was the Spartans.
Well.
Yeah.
Don't take me at my word for that. I'm just like, and my memory's fried. So.
Well, those would probably be the worst stories of all. Your dad is a Spartan, like you soft SOB. When I was growing up,
I'm pretty sure my dad was a Spartan.
Kids these days. So yeah, that's the IVF thing. The fact that they don't say anything about it in the news reports is what's most grating to us. It's like, come on, that should be one of your first questions. Like, hey, you did IVF gift. Now you're calling these embryos all babies, so apparently you've murdered however many didn't take.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I mean, mind you, it's really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what she says because she's not going to win the Republican nomination, no matter how much she tries. Like, there's no hope. All she can do is harm Trump. And I'm cool with that. I'm grateful for that. I don't like you, but beat up Trump as much as you like. All the way to the convention.
Yep.
And, that's fine. But still, like, you have to be honest about, your opinions as a politician. Or you should be, in theory.
Agree.
Speaking of conventions and whatnot, did anybody see CPAC?
Which part of CPAC are you referring to?
I know it was all pretty crazy. It was all pretty crazy.
It really was. The guy that was talking about how he wants to destroy democracy, and he held up.
Yeah, like so brazen.
My favorite.
Like he was so brazen. Like that is the quiet part of the quiet part.
That's what I was gonna say. I've heard people say the quiet part out loud. I've never quite heard them shout it at the top of their lungs while Steve Bannon's like, yeah.
I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it was amazing. That and then who got booed? Not booed, but they had there's 4 people in the audience. Is that what happened?
There's a lot of empty space. Yeah.
Yeah, they were showing like a largely empty auditorium for one thing. Like, it was crazy, but they're the craziest people, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they had Liz Truss come out. I mean, That was weird. Like, I mean, she's a non-factor in England, and now she's over here. I don't understand. I'm not sure what the benefit is having her come over. Oh, is this the?
No, that's not what I wanted to do
okay.
at all. Sorry, you can keep talking. I'm sorry.
No, I guess I guess for me it just sort of solidified this whole global effort. Is it global? Is that the word I want? International effort. You know, where Hungary is helping right wingers here. Now we've got right wingers from England coming over. So it's like they're all organizing on various continents to you know, keep the crazy going.
Oh well. It got taken down. That's a shame.
Oh, what happened? You lost one?
Yeah, that's all right. It happens with fake news, and I'm glad. I'm absolutely glad.
Took it down.
Glad. That was great. It was viruses aren't real. So that amused me. This one's fun.
This could be a little weird. American Red Cross is asking, have you ever had a COVID-19 vaccine? If you answered yes, look down there at the bottom. It says, if you answer yes to the question, please call the 1-800-RED-CROSS before coming in to donate to determine if this will affect your eligibility.
Not sounding so safe and effective to me anymore.
I found this to be a little weird. American Red.
Can you play that again? Because I did not hear that.
Oh, go ahead.
What?
Yeah, you said you play
Yes
it
to the
again.
question, please call the 1-800-RED-CROSS before coming in to donate to determine if this will affect your eligibility.
Not sounding so safe and effective to me anymore.
Yeah, I still didn't hear the first part. I don't know why.
Red Cross is asking, have you ever had a COVID-19 vaccine? If you answered yes, look down there at the bottom. It says, if you answer yes to the question, please call the 1-800-RED-CROSS before coming in to donate to determine if this will affect your eligibility.
Not sounding so safe and effective to me anymore.
Can you get that?
I didn't like the first part. What was he saying?
So he's saying that when you go to donate blood, there's this American Red Cross at their website. They say, have you had the vaccine? And if you have had the vaccine, then you're supposed to call them and verify that it's okay still for you to give blood. So he's trying to suggest that means that there's something sketch about the vaccine. Not so safe, is what he was suggesting.
Okay, so let's get to the truth. I mean, because the vaccine is safe.
Yeah.
I have thankfully not had COVID at all, and I am constantly in public spaces, or at least I was until, October, and I've never gotten, I'm certain like there's been at least a few people around me that have had it, on the other hand, my mom has had COVID multiple times, and it's only because of the vaccine that she isn't dead, because she's old and has a lot of health problems.
Wow.
So I'm curious to see what the truth of this is, or
I can fill you in on the truth. It's fascinating.
Go ahead, please.
At least I thought it was interesting. So the deal is that vaccinated people can absolutely give blood, no worries. You can go get a vaccine right now, bam, in your arm, go right over and give blood, no problems. However,
I don't know why you'd want to, because one sucky shot is enough for one day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hey, stick something in me, and why don't you just take out half my blood? Let's see what happens
Some
then.
kind of weird masochist, yeah.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
But the idea is that the only reason why they ask people to call, and it hasn't even been verified that this is actually a Red Cross page, the official page necessarily, but the thing is that there is a study going on in the United States where people are voluntarily testing the live attenuated virus vaccines. And in that case, because it's not FDA approved, the Red Cross would like to ask everybody to wait, if you've gotten that, to wait 2 weeks before you give blood.
So there's a version of the vaccine that is a live virus?
Yes, but it's only...
That sounds like a terrible idea to me.
Right, and it's only in test. It's only in it's only a trial right now. So is a very small percentage of people that are testing a weakened version of the virus, but out of abundance of caution, since it's not FDA approved, although they're using it in Europe, so it's not like it's totally flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
They're for the United States, if they're saying it's not FDA approved, so let's give it 2 weeks. So to me, that doesn't 2 weeks since you had any vaccine does not sound unreasonable to me at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, right. But for some reason, this kind of stuck in some people's craw, and it seems to be proved. I mean, I really can't believe that people are still trying to spread anti-vaccine paranoia now, since you're all gonna die.
It's become bigger, like, since COVID. Like, there's always been, the crazy, anti-vaxxers out there. There just seems to be more of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I don't know. That's how it seems. I think the reality is they're just louder.
Maybe. And it also seems actually ridiculous now, because it's like we already know that it's not harmful and nobody's dropping dead. All the things they predicted that, in 6 months your eyes are all going to be, pushing up the daisies. And that obviously didn't happen. So
it did happen. In Florida, there's a huge measles outbreak, which, had largely been under control until recently.
Mm-hmm.
There was a similar outbreak of something that had been largely taken care of in New Jersey, I think, recently.
Polio. There's
polio. That's right, polio.
Polio's back. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. We can
I mean.
Right.
Love it. Polio's back. Terrific, right? So, yeah. I had something else I was going to add that I forgot what it was, though. It just evaporated my brain. Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh, well.
Well, all you need is some horse dewormer. That'll take care of it.
That's true.
Or some chloroquine. Go to your local pet store and get some chloroquine.
That was terrible.
That'll do you a favor. You won't have to worry about anything after a bit.
Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about,
ahead,
too.
yeah.
Do you remember when we published that fake news article? We found that flyer in our Franklin's restaurant in East Falls that was like, what were they called? The what was the group behind it?
Mises.
Mises.
M-I-S-E-S.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember. I got a lot of crap for that.
Right, they attacked us, right? I haven't looked at that Facebook account since then because I'm afraid to. Yep, they're mean people. So that was fun. So I have one last one that I definitely wanted to show you, because I thought this was really interesting, and I think of all people you would probably appreciate the misinformation part of it. So let me make sure I got it up. Is that it? Nope. It's weird. Okay, here we go. All right.
I remember the libertarians didn't even want to claim them.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
That was amusing, watching that little tryst.
Right, and remember when they were like, "Oh, she has to give us the space to write their wackadoo." I mean, they left like 25 messages, comments on your post, and they were just so angry, and they're arguing.
I have to give you space to write anything.
I know, right? And they're like, "I think she has to because of whatever." I'm like, "No, we don't have to, dummy. We don't have to." All right, I have a video to share with you. And this is fake news. So, oh, come on.
Wait.
Wrong place. Oh, wait. Hold on, wrong place. I know. I got the wrong one. Sorry. Copy hyperlink. There we go.
However, whatever this is up there with General Hospital reels. Come on, load up.
Come on, look at pace.
What is this?
I guess you'll get the idea. You can see the text underneath. I wonder if it's easier to do it this way. Oh, come on. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's see if it keeps going. So this is an aerial view of Hamburg.
Mhm.
And it's teeming with protesters. And it says, it proclaims, as you see in the text, Germany, Hamburg, stand with Palestine. And the same video has also been on Instagram and X. Let's put it on X. It might be easier there.
So what is this really about? Is it really that many people
Yeah.
with
Okay.
Palestine?
Right. No, it is not, obviously.
Okay. I mean, if it wouldn't surprise me,
Right.
because, you know, that's just how the world is. But still, what is this about?
Right, the march has nothing to do with the Israel-Hamas conflict. It's actually a video from an anti-AFD demonstration, and that's the right-wing, one of the right-wing party.
Alternative for Deutschland.
Thank you, Steve. So the neo-Nazis were in Potsdam they had a secret meeting of extremists who were just going to start talking about mass expulsion of migrants from the country. And the organizers to protest it expected 10,000 people to come out, and they were amazed and thrilled that 80,000 people.
I would like a lot more than 80,000 people.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But that's where they stopped the march. They didn't have the, things in place for it, the permits.
Thank God, that Hamburg is giving me a little hope in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It is, and I like it's bringing out the best in people. So that's kind of nice. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced that right-wing extremists were attacking German democracy. If there's one thing that must never again have a place in Germany, it's ethno-racial ideology of the National Socialists. That's exactly what the repulsive resettlement plans of these extremists are. The thought sends a shiver down the spine. And he turned to the migrants and addressed them in German with, "You belong to us. Our country needs you."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Germany, man.
Gotta give it to him, man.
It's hard to know, though, because there are a lot of really massive anti-Jewish protests, and let's not mince words. When they say Zionist, they're saying Jew. It's obvious at this point. At least to us,
Mm-hmm.
it's obvious to us.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. It's non-Jews, but it's obvious to us.
Right.
Yeah. So it's hard to be surprised anymore. And seeing that many anti-fascist, anti-authoritarian people come out is it's kind of heartwarming.
I would hope so. And what do you think is going on with the fake news aspect? What are they trying to do there?
As far as what? As far as
slapping on Palestine. Who's doing that? Why are they doing it? How is that?
That's Hamas doing a lot of that. They're very good. Hollywood is awesome. I will give them a lot of credit. Those are some talented people. We should have those people in Hollywood.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I don't think I've even ever heard the term Hollywood. Have you?
Really? What Hamas will do is they have child actors, and they'll dress them up as if they're really wounded, and it's hard to tell unless you happen to have seen other images of that same child.
How do I spell Pollywood?
Huh?
How do I spell Pollywood?
It's
Pall Wood. Hollywood.
Hamas Pollywood as a Palestinian strategy. Look at all that stuff. Okay, so keep talking. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I saw an image of a little girl that they said was I want to say it was Al Shifa Hospital, but I don't think it was. It was at one of their hospitals, and she was all bandaged up. She looked like she had just been, wounded, and they were talking about like how she lost her parents or whatever.
Sure.
And I don't mean that like in like a dismissive sense, because there are children that have lost their parents, and that's horrible.
Yep.
Horrible. And I pray for those children every day.
Sure.
But in a side by side of that, she was supposedly in a different hospital or a different situation, with different wounds, but it was clearly the same, like 10 or 11-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was a video of a woman that was supposed to have been shot by the IDF.
Mm-hmm.
In the original video, though, all of the IDF soldiers have their weapons pointed down, and they're just kind of standing there, watching people go about their day. They don't even hear a shot. Mm-hmm. The shot was added in, in sync with the woman falling,
right?
To make it seem as if she was shot,
right?
And they do this because people don't really actually care about the Palestinians. It's just a way for them to feel good about themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
If
they would actually listen to Palestinians who want Hamas gone.
Right.
Protesting for weeks now, if not months, to remove Hamas.
Right.
And criticizing Hamas and speaking out about Hamas, and talking about how they're stealing the aid and whatnot. Yep. And they don't really care.
That's fucked up.
It is, and it that's why I live on Tums, because like it just makes me so sick. It's really a double form of like racism. It's Islamophobia, but also anti-Semitic. It's Islamophobic because they're infantilizing Palestinians and suggesting like they don't have any agency. They can't possibly want actual liberation, right, actual freedom, and instead, thinking or acting as if, this Islamicist terrorist organization is the greatest thing for these folks.
Right.
And it hurts all of us.
Sure.
That's why I wish Westerners would just shut the hell up and mind their business. Like, let us deal with our family shit. This is our family. Whether you refer to them as Arabs, or Palestinians. It doesn't matter. That's our family. That's our cousins. Let us deal with each other and figure it out ourselves. You've done enough.
And it's too bad that they're never going to let that happen with social media as it is. Obviously,
no, they're not. And
the shit pot.
At the end of the day, the media's goal is to make money. And we're all from this field. If it bleeds, it leads.
Right? Yeah. So why would they stop the bleeding?
Exactly.
Right. It's a shame.
Meanwhile, like other parts of the Middle East and North Africa have it way worse than the Palestinians do right now. They're being slaughtered in like the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands of Syrians have died.
Yeah.
There's been entire villages of African Christians that have died at the hands of Islamicists in northern Africa.
Right, but again, it doesn't. I mean, that can be said about anything. We can't deal with this conflict because other people are over there dying. It's
And you're right. You're right. And my point in saying that though is that if you really cared about people dying, you'd also be saying something about that. But the reason you're not,
right? But again, you can go one thing at a time. You can make things incrementally better. That's what I'm saying.
oh, okay, so
that
hundreds of thousands of Syrians die under the hand of Bashar al-Assad. You don't say anything.
That's not what we were talking about. We were talking about the Palestine-Israel conflict.
But why is that the thing that you pick?
Because that's what we were talking about. And then to say, oh, wait a minute.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the broader.
Right, but I'm just saying that apparently, I think part of the reason is the fact that the U.S. has such a big footprint in that area.
Right.
I think
we have a big footprint in all of the Middle East.
Well, but again, like our defense industry and the weapons that we give over there, that we sell over there, and I think that's
we had a big footprint, and we're heavily involved with Yemen.
Right.
Well,
and hundreds of thousands of Yemenis have died at the hands of the Houthi rebels.
Yeah.
And they're actually supporting the Houthis. So.
Well, I'd be curious to see what the amount of armaments that go to Israel versus the amount of armaments that go to Yemen.
Right.
They're also the only Jewish country in the region that is dominated almost exclusively by Muslims. The answer to your question isn't, the size or scope or the amount of military aid. It's that it's Jews. That's the answer.
I would disagree with that, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I think though, I kind of understand what we're talking about. Like, okay, so there are atrocities happening all over the globe, and almost equal. So why is this one so universally like catnip to all of the most disinformation and misinformation that we can imagine, right? And I don't exactly know the answer, except maybe it's white people are involved, and that elevates it to some degree more. Maybe
the assumption is that white people are involved, but I think that even if you asked I forgot the word. I'm having a brain fart for a European Jew, and there are many kinds of European Jews, but Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
If you asked an Ashkenazi Jew whether they were white, you know what they would tell you? No, they're not, and there's a good reason for that because we've never been white.
But I'm just saying the people that are easily driven to the misinformation, disinformation, who care about the news that they see, who feel susceptible to the anger and all the emotions, they're seeing. It doesn't matter what the person identifies as, but the people, if white bread America is looking at them and going, they look like me, then that makes them immediately feel some sort of, even if it doesn't make sense, because it's like, hey, you hate the Jews. Yeah, but over them, if I look at them, then, or whatever. Like, I think that there's some kind of weird racial math going on, which is why people are so obsessed with, I don't know, I think.
Here's the reality of it. Is Jews will fit whatever narrative those who want to hate us hate.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's, for a large swath of the left, and it's not everybody, but a big enough portion of them, it's whiteness. So even though never in history have we ever been considered white, to make their hate acceptable, we can now be white.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean?
Right. Yes. Yes, yes, you become white because they can be like, white supremacist. Let's attack the
Exactly.
white
Even
supremacists.
though, like, the actual white supremacists are like, they're not
I
one of
agree.
us. No.
Agree. And they're the ones that
No.
actually, yes, exactly. But that's kind of what I'm saying is why I think that so much of the American public, being ignorant of these nuances, are so easily manipulated, how we're targets, because we can easily do the math in our heads, hold up our little cards and go, well,
But even that's a lie. I mean,
It
Yeah.
is.
like, the majority of Jews in Israel are not even Ashkenazi. They're
right.
Mizraim.
I agree. But again,
Yeah. Well, I think also there's also a component here with the American lobbying groups. I think that there's a huge amount of sway that lobbyists have, particularly in regard to Israel. And I think
that's not accurate either. Yes, there is
I think
a big lobby for Israel. Yes.
Oh yeah.
But there's equally a big lobby, maybe even bigger, for the Islamic world.
Really? Here?
Yeah. The Qataris have like dumped massive amounts of money into the U.S., both into colleges, into politics.
What do you want?
Let's see. Yeah, I would like to look it up and see.
What are we looking up? I don't even know what to look up.
Let's see. Lobbying.
How do you find that out? How do you look it up, Corey? If I wanted to compare lobbyist money coming in. American lobbyists. This is fun. By country? I don't know what to look up. Foreign Lobby Watch. Ooh, this is fun. Select a country. Okay. So.
I'm not that.
All right. It's called opensecrets.org.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So here I can share screen.
Yeah, let's see.
Are we at Open Secrets? Which one's Open Secrets? Do you see?
Where's it?
Select the category there.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we do? China, Japan, Liberia. These are the number ones. Oh, shut up, Germany! Go away.
I keep buttoning. So where's it? Did we lose it? No,
No, we're here. All right. So what are we looking for? Qatar. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that. Woo! Saudi Arabia. Ding, ding, ding. What else we got? Liberia what do we know about Liberia?
United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, look at that. Israel, there you go. So Israel definitely. Look at that. If we added up United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar.
That's the country, though. What about?
All right. Well, isn't that how they determine?
Well, APAC is a domestic.
I don't know. All right. So how do we look that up?
That's what you got to look at. Yeah.
Countries registrants. Is that something? So Bahamas tourist group.
No, wait a minute.
You can enter the registrant's name.
All right, what is that?
APAC.
APAC like that?
AIPAC.
AIPAC?
Yeah.
No, that's not where it is.
Huh.
Interesting. Is there a search bar I'm missing? I thought that was very interesting.
It's like American Israel
Public Affairs Committee.
Yeah.
I can do. Here's the thing. Here, search. What is it? AIPAC?
Yeah. Does it tell you?
APAC doesn't contribute directly to candidates. Considerable funds lobbying, but does not directly contribute. So how do we do APAC compared to what's the other one? Post biggest lobbying 2014. I don't know, guys. What do you want?
That's weird. Yeah. Huh.
Corey, I think Corey wins this one.
Yeah.
Right? But this is good. Do you use Open Secrets sometimes when you're researching stuff, Corey?
Yeah, I do. A lot.
Mm-hmm. It's full of information. Like, what's the point of this site? Just to tell everybody.
It's mostly about, like, public or funding for, like, elections and stuff like that. I mean, that's what I use it for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what you used it for the vaccine, the anti-vaxxer article.
Yes, I've
About who
also
was
used
behind it.
it, during the mayoral election, um, to trace who Sherelle Parker was getting most of her funds from,
Yeah.
and who was spending against, the progressive candidates.
Neat. Well, that's cool. I didn't know you could. This goes to the local level here.
Um, it should
Looks
somewhere.
like, yeah, I'm sure. Look at that. Very cool. Loving
In
that.
a few months since I've used it. There was another one that I used as well.
Well, I think that's pretty neat. Very helpful. I had something else to say. I keep thinking of things to say and then I forget them. That's very helpful. Very, very helpful. I had one last thing before you went, but now I forgot it. Oh, what were you talking about, Steve?
No, nothing. I found an APAC thing, but it doesn't really say much more.
Nope.
Anyway,
Nope.
Anyway, the reason APAC is considered to be such a problem isn't because they're spending all this money on candidates and lobbying and whatnot. It's because Jews are flexing power at all. And that's always what it comes down to.
Interesting.
I mean, it's just another cog in the conspiracy wheelhouse of things we supposedly control. We control the media. I don't know. Do I control anything over there? Anything?
All of it, Cory. I'm sure. You're just
I did not know that I had that much power. I barely had control over my own work.
Yeah. Steve's trying. He's looking.
I'm just looking around, because again,
There's a lot of disinformation out there.
Yeah.
And the whole point is, I think, overall, even the dumb shit, it's just to make us not trust each other, makes us not trust our eyes, makes us not trust our ears.
When it comes to Jews, really the misinformation that you see out there, it's not anything new. It's the same thing repackaged over and over and over and over and over and over again. Whatever you hate most in society, that's what you accuse us of. And that's what we're guilty of in the common anti-Semitic mind. And I'm not saying that every person that necessarily believes some component of it, is wholly anti-Semitic. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
And until you recognize that, until people recognize that, we're not going to end anti-Semitism, and we're not going to end Islamophobia, and we're not going to fix the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You can't force a state onto people that have said over and over they're not willing to accept what they're being given. No matter how fair it is, if they want either all of it, which just isn't going to happen because we're indigenous there. Like, it's our language that you're sitting on top of. Like, the stuff is written in Hebrew. Like, you can trace modern Hebrew to the ancient form of Hebrew, like, very easily.
Agree.
The history, our history is there abundantly.
Abundantly. You were right. Yes, correct.
So
that's why it gets so muddy, because it goes to prehistory. So that's how it gets muddy, because people just don't. Oh, well, you don't know. Well, we
kind of do.
Yeah, I agree. Archaeologists, yes, definitely, it is. Yeah.
And that's the most fascinating aspect, I think, of all of it to me, from stepping back, is that these are often the same people that preach decolonization. Matter of fact, even now they're talking about decolonization.
Sure.
But Israel is like the only time in history that I can think of where it was a successful decolonization effort.
Right.
The Arabs and the Ottomans and the British had colonized, our land, and we decolonized it. Like, it is now Hebrew land. It is now Jewish, Israelite, Judean land again.
Yeah, it's been thousands of years. It's hard to call that colonization exactly, but I know what you mean. And
No, because we were always there, and like it's been six different groups have colonized it.
Well, populating isn't the same as colonizing, so I think that's where I'm kind of like, a lot of people just sort of
They ruled it. Ruled it. They took it from us.
Again,
and other people will take it from
colonizer, bigger has to come. It was a little more complicated because people scattered. We're talking thousands of years, so it's not. I think when we talk about colonizing, it's important to make sure that that's more of like the term that we use for, when a big country that has big guns or big resources can overtake an area and take.
That's exactly what happened. The Arabs.
I like history. I don't know.
The Ottomans were an empire, right?
Yeah, but there were also lots of Jews in the Ottoman Empire.
There were Jews within the Ottoman Empire.
And they had a lot. There was a very open-minded society. The Ottoman Empire was super awesome, and they had that was one of the few ones that and the Westerners. I just read a great book on that. The last Ottoman king was like. It was
do you know what they referred to Jews as, in Ottoman and Muslim empires previously?
I'm not sure about that.
Dhimmis.
Okay.
A dhimmi is a second-class citizen.
Okay.
It's Dhimi, I think.
2 M's, yeah. A non-Muslim subject of the Ottoman Empire, derived from Islamic legal conceptions of membership to society. They were afforded protection by the state, but did not serve in the military in return for specific taxes.
They also couldn't vote. They couldn't hold certain positions.
Regardless of these official changes in various places within the empire, they did face various forms of institutional discrimination. So it's not as clear-cut. My point is that it is not as clear-cut. If you choose to see, I'm trying to be...
You're trying to be diplomatic. You're trying to be diplomatic, but like...
Academic. I'm trying to be academic.
I'm looking at it from like the perspective of my like great grandparents living in Iraq.
Yeah.
Who were persecuted regularly, and were subject to pogroms.
I gotcha. Yeah.
And it's hard for us to consider like a purely academic view of that, because it doesn't reflect the reality, and academia has clearly been heavily influenced by anti-Semitic
of course
propaganda.
But again, it doesn't help to. It helps to maintain, and I'm not a big fan of neutral ever, but in this capacity, when you're trying to really understand and give everybody respect, in terms of, even
if we took your description, that's still a second-class citizen.
Oh yeah, I wasn't saying it, but again, it doesn't necessarily. It didn't say second class. They did say in some areas they experienced it, and they weren't in the military, but they had a different tax. So I mean, I don't really know for sure if you could say that.
And it just said non-Arabs.
And then you can also
say
it didn't
particularly Jewish.
Well, I didn't say Jews were the only ones that faced it.
Right. But again, that's an important point as well. And it's also like, yeah, like.
But traditionally, though, like going back to like the 6th and 7th century, like it was largely targeted towards Jews and Christians, which, whether you were from the area or not, you know, the Christians, like the Bedouins,
Right.
or not Bedouins, because they're not Christians, they're Muslims.
No.
Coptic.
Okay. Cossack. Ah, that's my people, the Ukrainians.
Not Cossack.
Oh, never mind.
Coptic.
Lost my interest. No.
the Coptic Christians in like Egypt, you know, were treated as Bedouins, but they were Arab.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. I guess my problem is just like when you go back thousands of years, it's really hard to start talking about colonizers. I'm over settlers, and people did migrate and move around. Some of us may have wandered in the desert for 40 years. So there's a lot of you know, it's hard. The word colonizer has a certain connotation in modern whatever, and I'm not gonna. There's not a hill I want to die on, and ultimately I will. You know.
Let's just say that we took our land back. Land back.
Right. In a global world, it's those words like sit funny, and I can see why that's such an interest, that why progressives are easily susceptible to that kind of, like when you hear people either side, but the whole like that's my land, it's again, we're global, it's hard and it's right to feel that way, and it's right to connect to that, and I understand that it's human, but I'm just saying I can also see that globalists have a hard time going like, oh, you and your land, right? Right?
I wouldn't, you know, honestly, I wouldn't even care as an American Jew. I wouldn't care. You know, except that we're made to feel unsafe in America.
Yeah.
And it shows us like the necessity of having our ancestral land.
Having somewhere safe, a safe place. And you'd think that modern day people would understand the idea of a safe space being extremely important for a historically legendarily abused and persecuted bunch of people. So yes, and a million.
Which is why you have the whitening of Jews now, because we're white in these folks' eyes, we can no longer, the idea that we're oppressed no longer can fit the narrative, and it makes it acceptable to behave in this way.
Yeah. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, that is why it's important to fight all this fake news, because they're right. You're right. And yep. That's a good note to end on, though. Thank you. That's
yeah, right. We're like
nice.
This, I think this last ran like a half hour or so.
Oh, it's good. I like it. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shut off our YouTube right now.
You guys got to keep me under control.
No, it's all good. It's